Welcome, listeners. You're listening to Deeds in the Desert, the place where real estate investors tune in for the latest news and available investments at Ignite Funding. If you're on the hunt for a low-effort, passive income stream, then turn up that volume and pull out the hammock as we get ready to feed you your weekly dose of real estate investing insights.
Welcome back, listeners, for another episode of Deeds in the Desert. I'm your host today, Izzy and Howard. Been here for a little while, about 7 years, not as much as my guest today, Howard Robbins, Business Development Executive, celebrating 13 years, right?
13 years as of tomorrow.
Yeah, sweet, man. I'm excited to have you on here, especially on this topic. I decided to bring Howard on this because it is a very analytical topic, and it seems that Howard loves to attract those analytical clients. So who better than to answer some of these questions on compounding interest and how that correlates to what we do here at Ignite Funding. So let's just go brief overview, Howard. What does that mean? What is compounding interest for those listeners that don't know what that is?
I guess the best way to describe it is earning interest on your interest. So when you're compounding, the interest that you earn goes right back into the investment and earns more interest. And that compounding effect, what it does is it causes the growth, an exponential growth of your portfolio over a long period of time.
So Ignite Funding, you're investing in short-term notes, basically, and you're getting interest payment every single month. Mm-hmm. And let's just say, to make numbers real easy, you're investing $12,000 on a 10% note, mm-hmm. and over that course, you're going to be getting that yield. So every single month you're getting those interest payments. And then can you explain how that works again?
Well, yeah. And so once you become an investor with Ignite Funding and you make that first investment, mm-hmm. The minimum goes down to $5,000.
Okay.
And then the accumulated interest, I mean, $100 a month, that would take you a little while to get up to $5,000. But mm-hmm. if you're working with a larger dollar amount, and you're working across several different investments with different borrowers, which mm-hmm. you should be for good diversification, you can then take that accumulated interest when you get a note that pays off, tack that on and make your next investment a little bit bigger. And by doing so, now you're increasing the amount of interest that you're earning every month. And that goes right back into the pot. And when the next note pays off, you tack on that interest, reinvest it, and now you're making bigger interest payments along the way. And so you can kind of imagine how the growth would go exponentially from there because now you're compounding the interest.
So all your money is working for you rather than just some of it.
Yeah, including the money that you're earning through the investment.
Got it. So how would that work? It seems like we're talking a little bit more in the cash side of things for those cash investors. How would this work in an IRA, such as a self-directed IRA?
Well, so in a self-directed IRA, you're going to choose a custodian to transfer that money to. Once that money has been transferred to the custodian, the investments, you can start making those investments in the notes that we have to offer. And the interest payments, rather than being sent to the investor, will be sent right back to the IRA custodian and will accumulate in the account in cash until an investment pays off. So let's say it is a $10,000 investment and you accumulate another $1,500 in there in cash, you can make the next investment for $11,500. And so now at 10%, you're earning more interest, which is that interest, again, is accumulating inside of the IRA account, waiting for the next investment to pay off. And you can, again, make that investment a little bit bigger the next time. And that's what we mean by compounding that interest.
So if I were to invest, let's say in a cash account, $20,000, how long would it take me to double that money?
Well, at 10% interest using the rule of 72, it should take you 7.2 years.
So I knew you were going to bring up the rule of 72. Can you explain a little bit about what the rule of 72 is?
The rule of 72 is quite basic. And it just says that if you take the number 72 and divide it by the interest rate you expect to earn on your investment, that'll give you the number of years it takes to double your money. So simplest example, if you expect to earn 8% on your money and divide that by 72, it'll give you 9 years to double.
So there's the basic math for everybody out there. I know a lot of people always wonder, like, they think, oh, I only have, $10,000, $30,000, $40,000, whatever have you. And they assume that it's going to take them forever. And it's not necessarily that it's taking them forever. It's just that they're not utilizing various strategies such as the compounding interest one, because I think a lot of people who don't get a larger interest payment, they sometimes don't reinvest those funds, or it's because it's not enough. So then they go do something else with it. And it's not necessarily an investment. They just go blow the funds. And so it takes them longer and longer to actually get to that doubling factor of getting the returns that they're seeking. So,
well, and keep in mind too, that the rule of 72, that just is one time to double your money. So using my example, 8% would take 9 years to double your money. And if you keep that going, let's say you started with 20,000, then the next 9 years would double you to 40,000. The next 9 years would double you to 80,000. The next 9 years would double you to 160, and it just keeps going.
Is that compounding?
It is. Yes.
I think that's one thing that we don't really talk too much about, especially with our younger listeners. I don't know if we have anybody out there who's listening right now that's in the 20 to 30 year age range. But man, if they use this concept, how good off do you think they'll be when they retire, Howard?
Well, I'm doing this with my own children, and I'm drilling it into them that the time value of money is on their side. Mm-hmm. So younger people can put away smaller dollar amounts and end up with more money in retirement than people who start at a much later age with larger dollar amounts. And so use the time to your advantage. And unfortunately, young people, generally speaking, don't see that far down the road to when they're 60 years old and they need to utilize their retirement accounts. But man, if they start, the sooner they start, the more they're going to have at the end of the day.
I agree with that. I mean, that's one of the things that we try to do here, just not on the podcast, but with everything, every event we go to. I get really excited, when I do see somebody attending who's younger, because I'm just like, oh, you're trying, and that's all it takes, just try, get the education, look for different ways to understand and just start. I think that's the other thing that people don't do. They don't even start.
Sure. Savings is a habit,
yeah.
And even if you're only saving $50 a month, just get in the habit of doing it every month. And if you get in a position where you can increase that amount, great. Increase it. If you get in a situation where you have to decrease the amount, well, decrease it temporarily to get yourself out of the situation. But do a little bit every month and make it a habit, because in the long run, that habit is going to make you wealthy.
Last thing I want to touch on for the compounding interest strategy, I think it's really important. We really didn't touch on this. Is it's important to have an investment that's providing you not just monthly interest, but some type of interest on a regular basis.
Yeah. I mean, choosing your investments is important. Certainly being diversified is important. And there are many ways to create growth and income from investments of all types. And so the most important thing, like you said, is to get started, start building, and then learn about the different kinds of investments that are available out there to you. Some are more geared toward long-term growth, and others are geared for short-term gains. But it's important to educate yourself on the different options that are available out there. Spend a little time. It'll definitely be worth it to you in the long run.
Do you talk about this strategy with your current client base right now?
Always. Yeah. Yeah. I try to share things, and my clients are, many of them are avid investors themselves. So I pick up things from them along the way, and then I go do my research, and I'm frequently amazed at what I didn't know.
I completely agree with that, because I listen to some of the conversations you have sometimes, and I'm just like, wait, what was that? What did they say?
Yeah.
Probably something I should write down.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a little bit of effort on the part of the investor. Mm-hmm. But again, a little bit of effort will help you grow your wealth much quicker, much more efficiently, much more safely, and it'll get you to the goals that you set for yourself in life.
I agree on that. For those wanting to know a little bit more or get more in depth on this strategy, we actually have a free white paper on our website. You guys can go ahead and go to ignitefunding.com. We'll make sure it's very easy for you guys to find this white paper. And if you guys want to learn more, you guys can go ahead and download it straight from there and go check it out. It has some really good details. It's a very easy read for those that are wanting to understand this. And I think it's a great asset to not just our investors, but potential investors as well.
Well, I appreciate you having me. And one thing, just to add to what you said, the hardest part of my job as an investment salesperson is to get people to take a critical look at these things, right, and spend the time. And you won't be sorry that you did.
And I know we're talking a lot about strategies and ways to invest, but one thing I always like to mention on here's our little disclaimer out there. We are not financial advisors. If you do have any questions out there about your investing portfolio, please contact your investment person or your CPA for tax advice or any investment advice. And thank you to all of our listeners out there again for another awesome episode of Deeds in the Desert. Catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks for joining us this week on Deeds in the Desert, where short-term investments meet long-term investors. We hope you enjoyed the content so much that you share it with all your friends. Who doesn't like learning about passive fixed income, right? Still hungry for more education? Visit our website at ignitefunding.com. Or if you're ready to take the leap and start investing, give us a call at 702-761-0000 and schedule a free investor consultation.